Now I will explain about the introduction. So aquatic environments present significant physiological challenges to fish due to differences in salt concentration between freshwater and marine habitats. So requiring fish to carefully regulate the movement of water and ions across their bodies to maintain the internal stability through a process known as osmoregulations. A marine biologist studied two fish species between a saltwater fish, barracuda, and a freshwater fish, tilapia, and observed that when each fish is placed in an unfamiliar water environment, it will experience the dehydration or excessive water intake, that demonstrating how changes in environmental salinity can disrupt osmotic balance and cause the physiological stress or death. So freshwater and saltwater fish will face opposite osmotic challenges and rely on specialized organs that including the gills, kidneys, and ion transport cells to regulate the water and ion movement. This discussion will examine how this mechanism will function in different aquatic environments, what occurs when fish are placed in unsuitable habitats, how certain species such as salmon and eels will survive in both freshwater and saltwater, and how the environmental changes such as pollution and climate change can affect the fish. So, osmoregulation is the process by which fish maintain a stable balance of salt and water inside their bodies despite living in environments with different salinities. Because fish skins and gills are thin and semi-permeable, the water and salt will constantly move across them by osmosis and diffusion. In freshwater, the fish body has a higher salt concentration than the surrounding water, so the water will enter the body and salt is lost. Freshwater fish counter this by excreting large amounts of dilute urine, reabsorbing salt, and actively absorbing salt through their gills. So, in contrast, marine fish live in salty environments where they tend to lose water and gain excess salt. They drink seawater, produce little urine, and actively remove excess salt through specialized gill cells. Through this mechanism, fish can maintain the internal balance essential for survival.
Next, how do saltwater fish and freshwater fish maintain water and ion balance? For freshwater fish, the problem is their bodies are saltier than the water, so water constantly flows in while salt flows out. So what are the solutions? The first one, do not drink water or drink very little amount of water. Second, gills actively absorb ion like Na plus and Cl minus from the water using specialized chloride cell and its required energy. The third one, kidney produce large amount of very dilute urine to flush out excess water. Lastly, urine will absorb most salt back into the body before excretion. Next, we proceed to the saltwater fish. The problem is their bodies are less salty than the water, so water constantly flows out while salt flows in. So the solutions are: the first one, drink constantly to gain water. Second, gills actively pump excess salt out using chloride cell. The third one, kidney produce small amount of highly concentrated urine to minimize water loss. Lastly, excrete salt via gills and kidney, conserving water.
Okay, next in this slide, I will explain about the gills, kidney, and specialized cell in osmoregulation. I will explain about the role of gills, kidney, and specialized cell in fish in saltwater and freshwater. Okay, now, firstly, we see for the fish in saltwater, the role of the gills is to actively excrete acid salt from the blood into the surroundings via specialized chloride cell, while the role of the kidney is to produce a small volume of concentrated urine to conserve the water. Other than that, it is to excrete divalent ion that are ingested with the seawater. Lastly, we see for the specialized cell for fish in saltwater is the chloride cell, which is ionized cell in the gills, will actively pump ion from the surrounding water into blood against the concentration gradient using active transport mechanism powered by ATP and the ion, which is Na plus and Na plus, using the ATPase enzyme, which is the ATPase enzyme. Now let's move on to the fish in freshwater. Firstly, we see for the gills, role, which is it is to actively absorb iron like Na plus and Cl minus from water to maintain internal balance, while the role of the kidney is to produce large volume of very dilute fluid to eliminate excess water while absorbing salt back into the body. Lastly, for the specialized cell, the role for fish in freshwater is chloride cell, which is ionized cell in the gills, use active transport driven by the iron, which is Na plus and Cl plus, which is the iron is enzyme to pump excess salt out of the body to the
Okay, hi and hello to everyone. For this slide, I will explain about what happens when fish are placed in different water environment, and this situation involves the process called osmosis. So, first, what is osmosis? Osmosis is the movement of water from an area of high water concentration to an area of low water concentration through a semi-permeable membrane such as fish body. First, let's take a look at the left side. When a freshwater fish is placed in salt water, the surrounding water has a higher salt concentration compared to the fish body. Because of this difference, the water moves up from the fish body through osmosis. As the fish continues to lose water, the cell inside fish body begin to shrink, which can cause dehydration and affect the normal body function. If the fish cannot adapt to this environment, it may eventually die. Okay guys, let's move forward. When the marine bony fish placed in fresh water, the surrounding water has a lower salt concentration compared to the fish body. So, in this situation, water moves into the fish body through the osmosis. As more water enter, the fish gain excess of water and the cell inside the fish body begin to swell. If this situation is keep continuously happen, this can disrupt the normal body function of fish and can be harmful to the fish. Okay guys, overall this shows that change in water salinity can strongly affect the fish survival.
Next, let's move to how do some fish are able to survive in both freshwater and saltwater. So first of all, have you ever wondered why humans cannot drink seawater, but some fish can live in both rivers and oceans? Such as salmon and eels, they are able to survive in both freshwater and saltwater. So they are fish called as irrehelin fish. Irrehelin fish can live in environments with different salt levels. To do this, they have to undergo a physiological change, which also called as the osmoregulation process. Osmoregulation means controlling the amount of water and salt in the body. So in freshwater, too much water will enter the fish body. Meanwhile, in saltwater, water leaves the fish body. So the fish must constantly adjust their body to stay balanced. Let's take a look at example for salmon. Salmon are born in freshwater rivers, but when they grow, they will migrate to the ocean. Before entering the ocean, salmon will go through a process called osmoregulation. During this process, their gills and kidneys would change to handle more salt. They also change their drinking behavior to avoid losing too much water. And after growing in the ocean, salmon will return to freshwater to reproduce. And meanwhile, as for eels, eels are born in the ocean, and then they will migrate to freshwater to grow. And then when they are ready to reproduce, they will return to the ocean. During this migration, they will release hormones that could help them to prepare their bodies for changes in salt concentration. So to conclude this question, salmon and eels can survive in both freshwater and saltwater because they can adjust their bodies through osmoregulation. This special ability allows them to live and migrate between different environments. That's all from me. Thank you.
So I will explain about how do environmental changes such as pollution or climate change affect fish osmoregulation. First, I will explain about climate change impact on osmoregulation. Number 1, water temperature will increase. When water temperature is higher, the metabolism of fish will speed up, which can cause the increases of oxygen demand and the rate of passive ion diffusion across gills. Due to that, osmoregulation system work harder and may fail under stress. It is also can inhibit the function of some enzymes such as potassium or sodium ATPase that used for active ion transport, which can lead to osmoregulation failure. Number 2, salinity changes. When the salinity of water change in precipitation pattern and the sea level rise, fish will consistently readjust ion transport mechanism. For freshwater fish, when their environment becomes salinized, they will struggle to prevent water loss and excessive salt gain, which causing osmotic stress. For seawater fish, the environment will experience sudden drop in salinity, which make the fish to rapidly adjust to prevent excessive water influx and ion loss. Next, I will explain about the pollution impact on osmoregulation. Number 1, gill damage. So, water pollution might cause the heavy metals such as mercury or lead to damage the fish gill, which is the main osmoregulation organ. Heavy metal can disrupt ion transporter such as sodium or potassium pump. Thus, the fish struggle to absorb iron in freshwater or excrete excess salt in seawater. Number 2, increased energy expenditure. Fish need more energy to cope osmotic stress in order to maintain their internal balance. Osmotic stress that caused by the pH difference and the presence of heavy metal will make the gill to work hard to perform the osmoregulation, which can vulnerable to disease and less able to survive for a long term.
Okay, this is the end of our discussion. To sum up, osmoregulation is a vital process that allows fish to maintain their internal water and ion balance despite different environmental salinity. Freshwater fish and saltwater fish are faced opposite osmotic challenge and rely on specialized mechanism involving their gills, kidney, and chloride cell to regulate water and salt movement. When fish are placed in their unsuitable environment, the osmotic balance occur leading to cell shrink or swell, and they potentially death if adaptation is failed. But some species, such as salmon and eels, are euryhaline and can survive in both freshwater and saltwater by undergoing physiology and hormonal adjustment throughout their life cycle. However, environmental change such as climate change and pollution can disrupt the osmoregulation by altering temperature, salinity, and damaging the gill function, increasing energy expenditure and physiological stress. So, therefore, effective osmoregulation is essential for fish survival, adaptation, and long-term population sustainability in changing aquatic environment.